In order for any cell to get nutrients, it must find a way to eat or harness said nutrients. There are two main ways that cells do this: active and passive transportation. These are both ways that nutrients go through the cell membrane. Let's first talk about passive transportation, since it is the simpler of the two. It is called passive because it does not require any energy to function. The way it avoids using energy is by using diffusion. Diffusion is the fact that all things want to naturally disperse evenly. It is used when there are more nutrients outside of the cell than inside of the cell. In this scenario, the nutrients and resources want to naturally spread evenly, so when there is an opening from the outside of the cell to the inside of the cell, the molecules go inside of the cell. Passive transportation cannot work when there are more nutrients outside of the cell. In this situation, the cell has to use active transportation. Active transportation is used when nutrients have to go against the natural flow of molecules. To understand how this works, let's look at one of the most important pumps in the human body, the sodium-potassium pump. This pump is designed to send sodium outside of the cell and collect potassium. In the first step of the process, the pump will open up to the inside of the cell, allowing 3 sodium ions to enter the pump. Next, the ATP attaches to part of the pump, reorienting it to the outside of the cells. The sodium will exit the pump. The potassium ions will be attracted to the pump. The energy will be lost, and the pump will reorient itself back to its original position. The pump will then be exposed to the inside of the cell, and the potassium will be released. An example of a primary pump. It is primary because it does not use any ATP. The other type of active pump is secondary because it does not use ATP. It instead uses the difference of molecules to power itself. A good example is the sodium-glucose pump. In this situation, there is more sodium outside of the cell than inside of the cell. The 2 sodium enter, as well as 1 glucose. The sodium then power the pump to rotate, allowing the sodium in, but also bringing the glucose in against the gradient.